share my screen. As soon as I can. Find if my screen will allow to be shared. It's even, there we go. Apologize, technical difficulties this morning as always. So hopefully that thumbs up, Christine, David, so I can see you guys. Does that go through? Yes, okay. All right, always check. All right, so told you guys before, all of our headshots as well. So just who our speakers are going to be today with David and Christine, but I'll go first just to get everybody an update, kind of what we're going to go through. Quick CRA update, talk about our golf classic, the RRF fund update, which actually got breaking news from National and even more details from the SBA. Quick legislative update. I don't know if Nicole is on this morning, but I'll do my best, Nicole, impression to give you guys where we're going on the state legislative side. Then David, then Christine, and then questions and answers. Try to go through this as quick as I can. We put this slide up almost on every one, just so you guys know, we really appreciate our members. We continue to gain new members almost on a daily basis. We appreciate your support, helps us run our association. Those that have been able to renew, even coming out of a pandemic, it means a lot. And one of the big areas where we continue to push, and David can attest as I call him on a daily basis on this worker shortage issue, we did launch the job board about a month ago. It is free for all members to post jobs. We are trying to elevate that. I actually had a discussion with Goodwill and their career center yesterday and trying to find other ways to help you guys. I know it's one of the biggest challenges you're faced with. It's something we are working on tirelessly as an association to find solutions to get you back to full strength so you can run your restaurants, your catering facilities, and your event venues at the levels you need to be. Serve Safe Manager, as you guys all know, we run classes every Monday. We also have, so we have the in-person classes. You can do a full online class, or you can also do online and come into our office in Farmington to take the in-person digital test. Please continue to sign up. Remember, if you're a member, there's a discount that you need to take advantage of. And then our two big events, I'll talk about the golf tournament in a second, but keep December 6th down for the crazies. Really, really excited for what we're working on with Foxwoods. Looking to, obviously, to break a record for attendance. It'll be a great celebration. We weren't able to have that event last year, and what it will mean for us in December as we hopefully are fully starting on that path to recovery, and excited to see everyone's face in person enjoying a night out. So Golf Classic, we went live with this on Wednesday to the public. As you guys know, it is at Lyman Orchards on the 28th. We already have well over 100 golfers signed up. We are more than likely going to sell out. It is a great event, a great time. We have 36 holes at Lyman. I don't want to make it a marathon round, so I will cap it at probably about 216. But one of the new elements we're working on, and I appreciate all the texts, we are trying to have a farm dinner afterwards, utilizing some of our chefs around the state, food trucks, local farms to help work with us to provide. You know, we can't be the restaurant association and put on an event and not have food be the star. So really excited. Actually have a follow-up call right after this with some of our board members and some chefs. So we look forward to that. And I just would encourage anybody that wants to participate to let us know as soon as possible because we are going to sell out and it's going to be a great time, and just excited to welcome everybody back, see everybody on the 28th down in Middlefield at Lyman. So
I didn't know if the 216 was in reference to your golf score or the amount of golfers you're willing to have there.
I don't actually play around, David, but we are a lot of restaurateurs. I know that I came from the golf industry, so I hit a ball on one side of the course for everybody. It is more of an enjoyable day. So if you're not a big golfer, but want to get out and just see everybody, yes. So yeah, it's probably be my score, you know, but no, I actually do help a lot of people on the par 3 at least get a ball onto the green. It's more pressure actually when 4 restaurateurs are, you know, sculling it everywhere and asking me to actually hit it on the green for them. So thanks, David. I appreciate it. Hopefully you can make it out and a DECD can support. We'd love to see you, especially for the dinner as well. All right, let's go to a federal update. Like I told you guys before, I talked to National actually this morning through some text messages. The Restaurant Revitalization Fund launched on May 3rd. As you guys all know, we pushed as hard as we could to apply. $28.6 billion that is in that fund. We knew going in that it was not going to be enough, and that is really where the rubber meets the road here of knowing that. So this is just a quick update in the slide. So 28.6 billion came out of the fund, out of the American Rescue Plan. There's 266,000 applications as of yesterday. Total number of requested dollars, 65 billion. Out of those 266,000 applications, 147,000 applications were women, veteran, and socially and economically disadvantaged business owners. And their request was 29 billion. So you don't have to be a math major to realize that the 28.6 is pretty much running out in this 21-day window, beyond the fact that everyone else that applied. I can tell you that I've already reached out to almost all of our delegates to push. There's a bipartisan support from Blumenauer, not Blumenthal, but Blumenauer is one of the leaders of the bill out in Oregon, as well as Senator Wicker. So Blumenauer is a Democrat. Senator Wicker is a Republican out of Texas. There's about 4 or 5 legislators pushing right now because now they know this request to ask for more funding to make sure everyone receives the dollars that are requested. The SBA, is still, the application process is still open for those that are right now. They've closed it for anyone that is requesting over 50,000, that last bullet there. So if you hadn't gotten it in, which I know we've been pushing for 2 weeks now, I don't know if they'll reopen it, but if you are requesting under 50,000, you are eligible to apply. But they've kind of capped it, or at least frozen applications beyond that because of, this fund already being, oversaturated and gone, and what they're going to be doing. So what does that mean? Where are we from here? First and foremost, if you did apply and you're in that category of women, veteran, and socioeconomic disadvantaged business owners, we do know the SBA has already started providing funding into those accounts. Over $2.7 billion, or 21,000 restaurants have already received funding as of yesterday's information. If you've received it, you don't need to put it up in the chat, but let us know. We want to highlight. I know we want to get everybody that's applied dollars, but I know that David is intrigued as well. We're trying to get a better sense of Connecticut's dollars that'll come back to us. We know that this is not unlike other programs where Connecticut gets a chunk and we divvy it up. This is based on how many applications there were, where they came from, and I hope that we had more Connecticut restaurants apply than other states for the money to come back in. So keep us posted. I know everyone's probably looking at this and going back, with these questions. So I guess I'll just go back really quickly on the outreach to our delegation. That is not stopped, and it will continue. I think everyone needs to be aware that, for us to get, let's just say out of the 65 billion, so there's 28.6. So, an additional 37 billion dollars to meet the needs of the applications. That would need to be done in a separate bill where we don't have PPP funding or other leftover funding. We've asked those questions. So I think the biggest piece to this right now is, how do we get another bill passed? Can it be a standalone bill? Does it have to be part of the infrastructure, the American Jobs Plan bill, all the other things that are out there? I don't know the answer yet. I do know that I'm going to fight as hard as I can to make sure everyone that's applied receives the funding. They are not going to do percentages. So if you are applied for 200,000 and you get approved, you get $200,000. So the problem is right now, and that's why I think the federal government is trying to figure things out. They don't want to look like, hey, we gave half the applicants money and the other half nothing. I think that does not look good on them. It doesn't bode well. Those are kind of the conversations I've had behind the scenes with them. So I think that bodes well for getting more dollars. But what does that mean? What's the timeline? I don't know yet. I know as we're going to push to see, as I will hopefully follow up with Senator Blumenthal later today. I think he has a good pulse in the Senate, and I will try to get to DeLauro's office as well because of her with appropriations and kind of what she's hearing in House leadership. Not that I won't talk to other delegates as well, but those two have been at the pulse of the RRF program from the beginning, and I appreciate their support as well as our other delegates. So I guess I stopped there. We know. So as of right now, anyone outside of the 3 special groups is out of luck. That's not, I wouldn't say out of luck. I say, if you're expecting to get your funding right away because you're not in those 3 groups, I would say you're probably not. Now that 29 billion in those 3 groups, remember that there is some allocation. So into the weeds, there's millions of dollars held and billions of dollars held for $500,000 and less, and the $500,000 to $1.5 million restaurants, there's $4 billion held. So there's $5 billion and 4. So I don't know out of the women-owned, veteran-owned, and minority-owned owners if all 29 billion is going to be allocated to them or not. I think that is going to be an interesting question, but I do think that's the narrative right now that we are seeing that is out there. So we'll continue to move through this webinar. We have other things to talk about, but I at least wanted everyone to be clear of the current status of RRF. The good news is that they're not holding money; they are producing money out. I hope more Connecticut restaurants receive the first round, and then we are going to work to replenish this fund as quickly as possible. And I guess the positive news of this is from Senator Schumer, leader in the Senate, to even House leadership. There's a bipartisan push that everyone feels supportive that they want to put more money into this. What does more money mean? What does the timeline look like? All of that needs to be dealt with over the next few weeks, and that's the effort to the National Restaurant Association, with me taking part in that with them to figure that out. So continue to take questions as I see. The 500,000 or less is actual sales from 19. Yes. So that threshold. So your revenues in 19, they're holding 5 billion for 500,000 or less, and then 4 billion from 500,000 to 1.5 billion. So 9 billion has to go to the smallest of the small. But we feel like what I've seen is a vast majority are smaller restaurants and such that are applying, which, what does that mean? I think we'll see. So more details to come. But I appreciate everyone that got it in. And if you haven't gotten it in, reach out to us. We will at least help you. But like I said before, the SBA is at least freezing applications above a $50,000 ask as of last night, is the update from the SBA. All right, moving on. That's really all I have right now on a federal side. Let's go to a state side really quick. Quick list of things that are going on. Scheduling mandate, Senate Bill 668. Thank you to all of those who sent a letter to your rep and state senator. Just a quick snapshot of this bill. I know you're getting responses back that are saying, oh, it doesn't affect you. It's 250 employees or more, 500 employees or more. It does affect franchises if they're franchisees, as I know they're on this call, in a different way, corporately owned. I'm trying to support our entire industry and making sure that our entire industry has a fair viewpoint of the scheduling mandate. And I just do not believe it is the right time by any stretch of the imagination that we're still in a pandemic trying to get out of it, that a bill like this should be put on the floor. While there's some well-intended pieces to this, like any bill, I still think there's a lot of pieces that make me extremely nervous, and why I ask. I know people have different opinions on this or whatever else, but I can also tell you that at the end of the day, we just feel we want to go back and have a bigger discussion and meeting. And if they want to look to work on scheduling and things like that, we can always have that conversation, but I do not feel it should be done now coming out of a pandemic. So that is one of the bigger bills that is on the floor. I know we have an alliance with many other business trade associations, lodging, Brewers Guild, CBIA, NFIB, CFA, so many that are working their avenues as well to help us. But anything you guys can continue to do, and talking with your rep and senator about the mandate, you need to represent the entire industry. We shouldn't be segmenting who should be getting it or not. And let's not kid ourselves. Something like this, just to be blunt, getting passed, the fear is always once it's passed, they will continue to look to lower the threshold to work in your businesses, even though you might be under the current threshold. Other things really quick, current executive orders late last night in the Senate was approved. So the governor's powers go through July 20th, which actually will go beyond session now. That slows down the to-go alcohol bill where it doesn't have to be a rush as much. We still want to get that done, as Nicole would attest, as quick as we can. But the governor now has his executive order power through the 20th of July now instead of May 20th, which would be next Thursday. So that's a good sign for us on some of the other bills that we're working through with Commissioner Lehman and others. You guys know expanded outdoor dining in that photo on the top left has been approved and signed through next March. Third-party delivery consent bill. I know it doesn't cap fees, but it doesn't allow any third-party companies to work with you. They have to work with you before they can post anything on their site. That passed the House this week, trying to work to get that done in the Senate. So kudos to Joan Hartley, Senator Hartley, and Representative Caroline Simmons for carrying a lot of the water there to get that done. So really appreciate their help. We talked about to-go alcohol. We hope to get a 3-year bill passed soon before the end of session. Unemployment insurance and trust. That's something that's top of our list, as well as we continue to worry about the almost $900 million in trust that we still owe back to the federal government, and whether any ARP funds will go into that. Otherwise, it'll be put on the businesses to pay that off over the next probably 3 to 5 years, which I hope does not happen. So continue to talk through that. The 1% meals and beverage tax grant program came out of committee. I know that's part of the budget discussions. Continue to try to find ways to support our restaurants through grant-based programs like this unique one with the 1%. And then styrofoam containers, plastic straws, utensils. I don't think that's gotten on any floor or anything, still conversations. And then the last one, the pizza as the official state food passed the House. Looks like it should pass the state Senate soon. And that's, it's actually just a really good thing for all of us. New York, New Jersey are kind of pissed at me, which is funny, because we potentially are going to pass this, but it just gives us top of mind to celebrate culinary, our state, and in the industry. That is our state legislative proposals. I think people are still asking me questions about RRF. If it's frozen, included inside the 21-day priority period, I don't know the answer to that question, Judy. I would definitely still try to look to apply if you've worked through it. If you're in that category, would be my response now, and let us know if you're getting blocked. I found out the SBA frozen above this morning, so I think it's something you need to look into as we go forward. So legislative update is done. Now we're going to turn it over to our commissioner and then Christine. So I know David probably hasn't seen the slide, but he's seen parts of this. But David, if you want to give an update and any part beyond this, please go ahead. So the floor is yours.
Thanks, Scott, and good to be here again. And I'm going to be pretty brief today. Happy to answer any questions, but I just want to reinforce some of the stuff the governor announced yesterday. I know there was a bunch of news, and we'll talk about the CDC and what that means, but I really want to spend a lot of time on Drinks on Us. And, we are very appreciative of the partnership again with CRA and you guys working with the Lehman administration on that. All right, so in terms of May 19th, and I want to simplify this as much as possible, we as we've communicated previously, all business restrictions are gone. So no spacing, no plexiglass, nothing around buffets, dance floors, nothing. It is from the state's perspective, from a mandate, 2019. We'll get to indoor masks in a second. That was always the exception and still is a discussion point, but there are no business restrictions other than potentially masking, I should say, at this point. So we'll talk more about that. Outdoors, before I come back to masking indoors, just outdoors, no mask required. The governor announced that yesterday. So if you're doing outdoor dining and someone is, whether it's a server or for that matter, a patron, customers and the like, they do not need to wear masks outdoors as of the 19th. So that is very, very clear. The one thing we're trying to work through now is with the CDC guidance that came out yesterday, which basically said if you're vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask, but if you are unvaccinated, you do need to wear a mask. So we're going to formulate, and the governor announced yesterday, we are going to adopt that. He mentioned the 19th. We're talking about if we can accelerate that. What complicates this are really two things. One, there are certain areas that the CDC said you will need to wear a mask. For example, doctor's offices, travel, locations like airports. And then schools is a big question, right? Schools are in session in Connecticut for another month, and most of the kids by far are not vaccinated because they're just not able to be vaccinated at this point in time. So we're working through that today. I would expect us to have more information perhaps over the weekend, at latest Monday on that. But what we're thinking right now is this is going to be the honor system. So, restaurants, other businesses are not going to be required to ask people if they're vaccinated. We don't think that's appropriate. So unvaccinated people, we're just going to rely on them. And the question is, what we're debating is this guidance or is this a mandate? Because we obviously it's something that we think is hard, if not impossible, to enforce past the 19th. But ultimately, people that don't want to wear a mask because they're vaccinated, they can not wear a mask indoors on the 19th, again, potentially sooner. And those that feel more comfortable with a mask, or those that are unvaccinated, they will either be mandated or strongly encouraged to continue mask wearing for a while longer. And Scott and I talked about this yesterday. The last bullet point here I think is important. What does fully vaccinated mean? It means 2 weeks after your final dose. So your second dose if it's an mRNA vaccine, or the one dose if it's J&J. So it's not the day after or the night after, it is 2 weeks after. So that's kind of where we are. Again, expect clarity over the weekend, but very similar to what we announced previously. No business restrictions, masking. Really the only question in my mind is, will it be a mandate or will it be guidance for unvaccinated people to wear masks indoors? Otherwise, we're trying to provide as much clarity as possible that really here we are at the end of this in terms of these restrictions, and we expect a very, very normal summer. I would note, as of this morning, New York and New Jersey are not doing what we're doing. I don't know where Massachusetts is. I've been trying to talk to my counterparts. New York and New Jersey seem to be keeping mask mandates in place for now. They're quote unquote talking about it, but as of now, they have not signaled they are going to change and adopt the CDC guidelines as we have done that. The last thing I guess I would say, sorry if this is I said that before. The last thing, and this really is the last thing, we are going to provide businesses the ability to keep mask mandates in place. So if you're a business for the next week, month, you feel more comfortable, your employees feel more comfortable, you make the decision, like no shirt, no shoes, no service. If you want masks to be worn by employees and customers, that is up to you. So that flexibility will be there. If for some reason you feel like that flexibility shouldn't be there, I'm all ears, but we feel it is important because the CDC announcement yesterday was really, really significant. And candidly, I think it surprised a lot of people, given CDC was arguably slower to move on many things, and then all of a sudden they changed instantaneously on this. So we welcome it, and we're going to adopt it May 19th, if not a little bit sooner, but know that you'll have the ability to keep your establishment with a mask mandate if you want. But if not, no masks are going to be required for vaccinated people indoors, and no masks at all outdoors.
David, just to ask you some questions, I know I saw on the side, but what do you think, some of the concerns that were raised to me last night, this obviously, before we go to masks, like lifting all the other things, it's on the business, becomes kind of more on the business now if they want to keep plexi, or they want to do table size limitations. Like, it has nothing to do with the state, has nothing to do with DPH or anybody else coming in measuring your plexi. Get all that. I think, but the question I have is that people keep asking me is, okay, well, now if you guys lift the mask inside, their fear is we enforce it, we restaurant enforce it. Does that become a volatile situation where you have guests coming in going, no, Biden said it was fine, taking my mask off and I'm walking around like I think that is something that is people are asking me. Others are like, what, we'll make it do. It's an honor system, we're fine. But I think my fear too is how the business is, the reaction, because I think what we've seen too in the last 3 weeks to 4 weeks is, you have a population that's so excited to be out, they're double vaccinated, you're almost trying to control them to wear their mask. But then you also have that smaller population that's showing up that is nervous because they haven't been out in a very long time, and how you balance that. So I do think there's been a little more cover with this, with the state. I think it's just continued discussion, but curious, if you've heard other businesses, retail, other entities that have reached out to you, how do you manage it? It is on the business, because I guess the business can make that rule. But I think it's something we have to continue to talk about.
But I think there's two states of the world here, Scott and team. You know, there's one, adopt the CDC Biden announcement yesterday, which is where we're going as a state. In which case it is the honor system, right? You're not asking employees, you're not asking customers, show me your vaccine card. None of that's happening. People that feel that are vaccinated, double vaccinated, they don't have to wear a mask, and those that want to continue to wear a mask a bit longer can do so. So I don't see any friction in that scenario. People are going to know that are masked up and potentially unvaccinated, that is their risk, and we're 14 months into this thing right now. I think the potential friction comes if a restaurant or a retailer wants to have a mask mandate, period, regardless of vaccine. And listen, we saw this in Texas and some other states, that there may be some people saying I don't need to, but at the end of the day, it's your establishment. So that's going to be the trade-off, and you'll have a sense of what you're comfortable doing, or the restaurateur or their customers. So that's a decision you all will make. But from the state's perspective, the default is going to be the honor system. If you're vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask.
And then just from a lot of other questions, I know it wouldn't start, I guess, you're saying not until the 19th inside, which is going to stay correct, David? Because one of the questions I get is, especially we have a lot of chefs on and back of house, and how hard it is to cook in a kitchen in normal times, but wearing a mask for, 6, 7, 8, 10 hours. If they're fully vaccinated, they will be starting on May 19th. It can incentivize other folks to go get a J&J or make sure they get their second dose and get to that point. But you're saying right now it won't be to the 19th, but at least our restaurant owners right now can tell they're especially their back of house, because they aren't public facing, how you guys want to do that with public facing. But I do think your back of house that don't get out and work with the customers, and telling them right now, if you're fully vaccinated, you can take that mask off and work in the back and cook.
You should tell, everyone on this call should tell their employees that is the rule. So if that incentivizes them to get vaccinated so they don't need to wear the mask anymore while they're cooking, absolutely.
Okay.
So again, we'll need to fill this out. I think this is the right thing. The science is very, very clear in terms of how the efficacy of these vaccines. So I think this is a good thing, and we'll see if we can do this quicker than the 19th. The governor was asked the question yesterday. We just need to finalize, the specifics of this executive order. So we're meeting on that today. So we will have more information, but at the latest, this will happen on the 19th.
And so everyone knows too, this happened, yesterday at like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and David found out like I did. So I would welcome, I'm going to talk to the board of the CRA and others. I think this goes back to conversations with your team individually, what you feel comfortable with. We need to look at best practices. We've done such a great job for 14 months in our state and our industry. We want to share that with others, and how, because I think there's so many different ideas, scenarios, things that people don't think about in our industry, and how the mask plays a role. But this just happened. Literally this happened less than almost 12, 14 hours ago. It was announced. So I think to David's point, I wouldn't change anything, obviously, throughout the weekend, but it is maybe an opportunity to talk with your managers and talk with some of your back house staff and find out, are they fully vaccinated too, or would that entice? But all those conversations about what you want to do for your business as we get closer to Wednesday is going to be helpful for me as well, of what you guys are doing. And the comfort level for your guests and the comfort level for your employees. So can you, that's a great question, Bobby. I don't think David can answer that question, but we can ask from a legal side about, can you ask employees about, from a HIPAA violation, if they've been vaccinated or not. We'll get some clarity on that and share that with everybody. I actually reached out to National on that, because we had a call as this announcement was done. What can you do and not do to protect you and protect other staff members if you want the honor system, but they do work for you, can you ask that question? So we will find out. I do not know the answer right now, Bobby. Chip, your question about ERTC, it is a great question that we are trying to get some clarity on. I actually asked National, because of the elimination of all business restrictions on May 19th, does that mean the ERTC credit piece goes away? I did share with David quickly, but I think it's something I got to get some clarity from National. So I know you texted me as well. I will try to get back to everybody, because it is a great question, because there's significant dollars there. And I want to go to Christine, but just want to see if I can try to answer these. child guest, I actually like that response. Child guests cannot yet be vaccinated, so we plan to continue the mask requirement. If you're to address the air quality, that should allow patrons to feel more comfortable. That's been the case throughout, which I appreciate a lot of the companies that have done that with us. Yes, Kelly, about putting a poll up, I do think we'll try to do some surveys and ask some questions to our restaurants to find out what you're planning on doing. So.
Yeah, and Scott, the one thing I would just say that, listen, we've done this for 12 months right now. So wearing masks, as you walk to your table or as you walk to the bathroom, that's kind of old hat for many. My sense is it will, the just human nature, people they're not gonna turn on a dime here. So I do think certain customers may want to see their servers in masks for another 2 weeks. All of a sudden this abrupt change, I got to think more about it. But I do think a little bit of transition is probably not a bad thing versus a complete 180 versus we've been.
And the other good thing too, as we were talking about, I was talking to someone last night, is our industry has always allowed you to take your mask off when you're seated at the table for food and drink. So it's not like you're inside the restaurant the entire, yes, the staff, and that's something we have to talk through, but the guests, if you ask them to wear a mask because children or whatever reasoning to go sit at their table, then they could take it off. I don't think you'll have as much pushback as opposed to some other business entities that people have to wear it the whole time. So
I totally agree. It's just that's a small change for customers, period.
Okay. Let's go to some fun so David, thank you. You stay on. Obviously, I'm sure there'll be some other questions. But,
okay.
I will turn this over to Christine to kind of give an update to everybody where we are with Connecticut Drinks on Us. And Christine, I have a slide for you, which again, probably hadn't seen either, but it's just kind of the website. And you can open it up and go ahead and give everybody an update.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you so much, Scott. Happy to be here. So, restaurants first and foremost are so critical to the tourism industry. And we recognize that you guys have been tremendous over the last year with promoting safety, showing creativity, pivoting as we all needed to, and really coming up with new and unique ways to do things. So Drinks on Us is our way to also continue that momentum and put a little bit more marketing and promotion behind it to help really motivate all of our Connecticut residents to say yes to eating out, to dining at their favorite restaurants, and just really getting back out and enjoying all they love to see and do, but certainly eat and drink. So this program was kicked off between the Restaurant Association and the state back on April 26th. It really took off organically, I would say. We were surprised within the first couple of days. It had, over 100,000 views to the drinksonuss.com website. And now it's up to over 156 views. So that's tremendous traffic that's been driven to this webpage, all by virtue of the news coverage, which did receive national and local news coverage in places like Times and CBS. It's really gotten the attention of our competitors out of state. New Jersey is already sort of mimicking, but not even coming close to the offer that Connecticut has on the table. And what's really unique about this is, again, it's lifting up our restaurant industry, encouraging our residents to come back out and enjoy all their favorite places, recognizing our vaccination rate, and continuing to support our residents to get vaccinated. And to do this is a bit of a recognition, but most importantly, it's driving business to you. So again, right now we have about 250 restaurants that are listed, and they are put up there by region. And we can tell you that people are scouring this webpage. They are spending 8 minutes, which is an exorbitant amount of time compared to other web pages on ctvisit.com. And that's because people really want to know who is open and where can they go. And this is leading into a big date, which is, as we've all been talking about, May 19th, when restrictions are lifted and capacity is now back open for inside and outside dining. In addition to, this program is running from the 19th of May through the end of the month. So it will cover us through Memorial Day, which we know from a summer tourism perspective, everyone wants to reconnect, get out with friends and family. And what better way to do that but at one of their favorite restaurants? So again, I think this is a fantastic program in terms of it is driving traffic to you. If you go on and sign up, you will be receiving not only the traffic on CT Visit, but we also refer, if you have a link to your website on CT Visit, which is also the message here today. ctvisit.com, for those that may not be too familiar, is our tourism website. It receives over 7 million views a year. It's also the call to action on all of the paid media that we do at the Connecticut Office of Tourism. So we're driving tremendous traffic there, and you could have a free listing page. It's super easy to sign up. You just go to ctvisit.com/partner, and you could have your own listing page. You could post videos, photos, your social media channels, and really take full advantage. The other thing I would just mention, again, the Drinks on Us program is also now being promoted with paid media. So you're going to start to see a lot more of this, hopefully on your own social feeds, but you can be a part of it. And you may have noticed this is already starting to happen on Instagram. But if you use the hashtag CT Drinks on Us, you will see samples of your fellow restaurateurs who are posting videos showing and raising a drink, and that could be non-alcoholic or alcoholic. That is completely up to each establishment to determine. But again, the only clause in there is that it has to be done with a purchase of food. Again, it's to encourage the eating out aspect and to give a drink in recognition of the vaccination. So again, we encourage you to participate on social media. We will be driving even more traffic. Just a snapshot since the campaign launched, the paid campaign launched on Monday. We have over 500,000 impressions on social media, and it's growing. But what's really encouraging is the commentary. If you read the comments that are down below on the posts, all of the Connecticut residents are extremely positive. I had just a few to just share and maybe motivate you to get on board. Thanks to those who were trying to get all of us to herd immunity. Bravo, chef, can't wait to dine out. I will support this restaurant. Much respect for all the restaurants are doing to stay positive, stay safe, and stay open. We will continue to support you. And then again, it's just happily will show my card to get a free drink. I'm easy like that. Awesome. Let's get business cranking again. So again, just a lot of excitement. It's a lot of positivity, and I think we could all use that. And certainly this is a program that essentially is there for the taking. Just sign up your restaurant, and again, put your listing on ctvisit.com. In addition to this program, we have Say Yes to Connecticut that launched as well last Friday. So there is over $1 million marketing campaign in market, again, that drives to ctvisit.com. And I think the interesting thing is everyone, travels on their stomach, they say, right? They're going to seek out their favorite food. And then the thing is, they're also going to see what else is in the neighborhood. So when you go on ctvisit.com on, say, in a local attraction in your area, down below, they have the while you're in the neighborhood. So they will immediately see what restaurants are available for them to take their friends and family out to eat after taking in a tourism attraction. So it all works hand in glove. Any questions, by all means, please reach out. We have our staff ready to help get your listings up to date.
Thank you, Christine. I just wanted to jump in a little bit too and make sure everyone listening in on this webinar this morning, and I know many of you have already signed up, but this is beyond just a partnership with the governor and the CRA, as you can see by the efforts of Christine's team. This is something I can tell you that is getting national attention. Even from, the White House had reached out to the National Restaurant Association asking us about it. It is something that I've been on multiple calls. New Jersey tried to steal our idea, but they're only working with the breweries, not the restaurants. I get it. Certain people are like, oh, I'm giving out a free drink. Who's paying for it? Everything else. Understand, you have to have a food element. It can be a house wine. It can be a draft beer. I know, there's still a margin. It's still something that you have to worry about in certain instances. But at the end of the day, you can't pay for the media exposure that this program has already gotten. CT Visit, to Christine's point, is our leading driver for culinary in our state. 7 million visitors a year. Every time we do a story on restaurants, I think Felicia Lindau from Adams and Knight and their team that works on this is blown away with how many people go on and look. And these aren't just patrons of Connecticut. This is the tourism side. So people coming down from Memorial Day are looking to see what restaurants in those towns where they're staying are doing this. And we are saying, hey, if you got it in Massachusetts and you have 2 shots, or you have one shot already, you get that free drink. I get that in some instances, people are like, oh, they're going to go in West Hartford Center and bar hop. They're not. They have to buy food each time, unless they're going to go and buy food 5 different times. Also, people are saying to me, oh, well, they'll come back to me 3 days in a row and I have to give them a free drink. If the argument to me is you have to give out a house wine 3 times and that same person has come to you 3 times to order food, like that shouldn't be a challenge. That's a great thing that we're trying to drive. And the bigger part of this is we are leading the country in vaccinations. Over 72, maybe 71, 73% of adults already have 1 shot in the arm. I can tell you with my peers across the country, they're looking at us in awe, like, how is that even possible? Like, and we're not even talking about just southern states. I'm talking about Oregon's at like 42%, out in the Midwest, it's in like trying to get to 50. They're trying to do what they can. We are celebrating that Connecticut, the residents made the effort to get their shot in the arm and take credit for getting the most vulnerable protected. And that's why May 19th exists. The other last thing I will bring up is, as you guys think, oh, May 19th, it is a big deal because New York, New Jersey, even Rhode Island and Massachusetts is August 1st, as I like to tell Bob Lutz up there. They still have spacing. They still have plexi requirements. This is eliminating all business restrictions in our state. It is not happening in our nearby states. There's kudos to Commissioner Lehman on this call and the governor for working with us and understanding what that means for us. I see the notes about employees and the challenges you guys are faced. And Stephanie, I hear you loud and clear. We need to do our part and figure out ways to help that. It is not 500,000 people on unemployment in our state. The last numbers from, I believe, the early April was 140,000, 23,000 in our industry. It is an issue without question. But I hope that you guys take to this as the executive director of the CRA and ask you and implore you to be a part of this campaign. I had a call with all the national chains yesterday. It's not about alcohol. It can be non-alcoholic. It can be a coffee. It can be anything. We have 16 and older that have been vaccinated, but all these things that are happening, mask mandate being lifted, if your back of house is fully vaccinated, all these things that are good things. And I give a lot of credit to working with the DECD and their entire team here. And I hope that you guys are considering, you're still gonna have patrons, I've had it, the anti-vaxxers, to other people wanting to send you notes, this is ridiculous. At the end of the day, you guys know as well as I do, May 19th does not exist without the efforts of getting this many people vaccinated. And hopefully we can continue to grow that and protect everyone in our state and move beyond this pandemic so your restaurants can get back on their feet. So that's kind of my soapbox for this morning.
Hey, Scott,
but go ahead, David.
Sorry, at the risk of going not fun again, I just want to address the unemployment because I see a couple of those in the chat. So yeah, just for the numbers, so the Connecticut labor force is actually down almost 200,000 people year over year. Now, a little less than 100,000 have actually left the labor force. So there's over 100,000 on unemployment, but you've seen a reduction in labor force by close to 200,000 versus pre-pandemic, which is a problem. So we're obviously aware other states have stopped the federal $300 additional per week. We are not going to do that. We know a lot of southern states have done that. We just think there are other reasons that are driving some of this unemployment, and some of them are structural. I'm not saying the increased benefits isn't a factor, but it is one of many factors. But we are discussing, as Scott referenced, what can we do? Because we realize this is an issue. It's an issue for restaurateurs. It's an issue for retailers. It's an issue for manufacturers. So we are having discussions, with the governor and others on what can we do to move the needle here quickly, because we want to get people back to work. So we can talk more. I know that's not the purpose of this call, but I wanted to make sure I came in on the numbers, and we are focused. We realize it's a real issue, and it's not going away anytime soon.
Yeah, and just as you guys hear that from David, those are the calls we have every day. I know people send me, oh, look at Montana's governor, look at this. Like, we're having these honest conversations and trying to figure out solutions to help you. and we'll continue. And I appreciate the partnership that I have with the commissioner to find solutions. We don't, nothing's going to happen overnight. You guys need to understand too that over 30,000 jobs are trying to be hired at once. We've never had this issue in our industry in its history, and it's across the country. There's 2 million jobs of our industry trying to be hired all at once. So we're going to do everything we can. And then I saw another question on there that Stephanie brought up. The DCP has approved it. I have a letter from the Department of Consumer Protection, as David put back in there, that it is approved. I know everyone's like, oh, you can't offer free drinks, or because of this campaign and what we're doing, it has been approved by the DCP. So you don't need to worry about that. And I hope that you guys, take this to heart and tell other peers around you to sign up and support our industry, because I'm looking to get as much media attention besides the buy that we can coming out of the 19th. It's going to be a great next week. And I hope the week after, we're not talking about COVID clusters and potentially rolling back. We're talking about opening up. We're open, and come support our restaurants. And I know you have challenges with staff. I get it. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to do everything I can with RRF funding to get more so you guys can get back on your feet, as well as all of these other things. So I hope you take that to heart as you listen to this campaign and what Christine's team is doing, which is phenomenal. And other ideas that they have on, and I know we've had some chef and owners already do some videos. We're going to do some more next week. I also encourage, if you are participating, your social media, we've sent out a social media kit. We'll send it out again. Your social media makes this a bigger campaign. You promoting it, you talking about the creative drinks. I know Bryce at the Charles told me yesterday they have like syringe shots of vodka with blank vodka, local Connecticut company, kind of playing off, a shot for shot. You guys are creative and getting into this and what it means. So I know I don't want to keep anybody on longer than they have. I know there's still DOL questions that are coming in.
Hey, Scott.
Go ahead, Christine.
Just the other key point, I know folks are probably wondering, as soon as you register, a list is sent daily from the Connecticut Restaurant Association to my team. And then we work instantly to update that website. So you don't have to worry about a huge lag time. If you get out there today and sign up, we will get you on that webpage typically within 24 hours. So just to put that out there, the social media toolkit that Scott referred to, that is available to help you promote. I saw a question about a poster or an image. There is a file, which is the Drinks on Us, sort of what we've been calling an e-badge, but you can certainly print that out on 8.5 by 11 and put it in your front window, front door, slip it into the menus, whatever you'd like to do. It does have all the information on there in terms of the dates and promotes the program. So hopefully that helps.
Thanks, Christine. We actually might get inside of 60 minutes today. This could be a record as I go through. I'm just looking at questions real quick that we haven't touched on. Bobby, I think it's a question that David has and I are trying to talk with DOL. I don't know, specifically aren't looking to give a list of employees, but how the process and what avenue as an association and restaurants and businesses, all businesses, can help in that process. Because we know our unemployment is over 8%. We know it's, at a high point. There's a lot of people still claiming, and how we can help drive that. Is there a way to use, I brought up David, is there a way to use ARP funding and incentivize? What other creative, and anything we see, we're going to continue to try to pursue, because we know how much of an issue and challenge. And now, and I was talking with TIC. Go ahead, David.
That's what we're looking at now, Scott, is there a carrot as opposed to a stick option that can further incentivize this? But sorry, Bobby, there is an adjudication method. I don't know if DOL sends you a list, but you can reach out to me one-on-one and I'll connect you with the right folks at DOL. There's certainly a process to make sure those that are claiming unemployment, that it is appropriate. Sorry, Scott.
No, I know, Emmanuel, if you didn't hear before, there is no receipts and funding. This is a participation. I would look at you to say, giving out a house wine or a draft beer one time to a guest if they have to purchase food, because they have to purchase food to take advantage. I know that you could say, oh, it hits my margins and everything else, but hopefully they buy a second drink or a third, and your cost, is a lot different than percentages and food costs are more like 30 or 40% compared to a beer, which is probably closer to 8 to 10%, maybe a cocktail 20%, kind of knowing your margins and your numbers. I get it. You know, I've seen some restaurants try to work with their local distributors as well as the breweries and try to find creative ways but at the end of the day, you know, yes, you would be supporting this, you know, on your own as a restaurant, and that's why it's an opt-in. But I hope you guys, you know, see the value and consider where we've been and where we're going to be a part of this. So, you know, I know there's a lot of questions and concerns, but I think when everyone can just take a step back and see where we are, even where we were 3 months ago. You know, if I said to you, you have to give out a free draft beer or house wine to every guest, but you're going to be fully open with no restrictions on May 19th. If I told you that in January, I think everyone would have ran, you know, we'd have over 5,000 restaurants signed up. So I hope we see it that way and the value of why we're doing it. And we're thanking the people of Connecticut as a big part of this as well. And hopefully in encouraging a conversation for others that haven't. But, you know, I really hope you guys take that to heart, because that's what you should be doing. You should be thanking your guests as they walk in, you know, if you're offering it to them, because they helped you get back open, realistically. And then obviously the marketing dollars as well is something that Christine has put together, you know, that has it's so much value. I mean, it was on 60 Minutes last Sunday. You can't even pay for that. You know, over, you know, I can tell you guys right now, if you don't have your restaurant on CT Visit, it is free to post your restaurant with photos and link and address on the CT Visit website. You are missing out. Like, shame on you, because I can tell you 7 million visitors, they go, oh, I'm going into, you know, Middletown, Connecticut, or oh, I'm going to be in New London. Like, they have so many link pages on there that say what's around you, what restaurants are around that you could go to. And that's free advertising. It is by far better than any other site that you could ever pay for. But make sure you look at that and you're constantly updating it with your photos and other information. But they really are phenomenal what the team does there on CT Visit to help you. So that would be the last piece to this too. Make sure your marketing team looks at the CT Visit site for you and your page, and make sure you have one. If not, work with them to help set it up.
Thank you, Scott. And I think what's important is we go to CT Visit as the Office of Tourism to find images and to identify partners to feature in our marketing campaigns going forward. So people often ask, you know, how do we get involved? First, you have to raise your hand and let us know who you are and what you have going on. And certainly images is always a driver. We have travel writers that are constantly contacting us from a public relations standpoint, and they want images and they want to know what's new and they want to know what's different. So really having that ability for you to share that information with us and then having us then promote that on your behalf goes a long way.
And I see Chef Tyler, what's up, Chef, tell you to ask purveyors to donate product for Drink Initiative. And Chef, I know, is one of the leaders of the video, and him and AJ and their team. So, you know, get creative as much as you can. You guys are creative. You have been throughout this pandemic. You know, let's continue to be a leader in our industry, even competing against our neighboring region. And I hope this webinar, you know, I don't need to keep anybody on longer. I hope this webinar was helpful. Again, just a quick snapshot, you know, golf tournament, love to have your participation. Kind of want to, you know, membership, continue to support us through membership. RRF dollars, 65 billion has been asked. Obviously it's 28.6. We need to go back to the coffers to try to replenish the fund. We are going to work through that and keep you guys posted. The state legislative update, scheduling mandate, any efforts you can do to kind of help with that, and putting some pressure on the state Senate, please do, in the House. And then you guys know the 19th, the mask mandate we'll continue to talk about indoor, and Connecticut Drinks on Us, please sign up. So quick snapshot of what this webinar entailed. We're always here. I'll go to the last slide that has my email and my entire team's emails on to contact. We're here to answer any question that we went through today or others, you know, and help you guys, you know, as much as we can. As I see another question, just see Bill's comment here. Yeah, I think that, Bill, I think that's an interesting point of using funds to unemployment supplement to use for state-supported employee training. Those are things actually I'm working on with David right now. I'm trying to work with the workforce initiative. There's ARP dollars. What else can we do to possibly offer, things like apprenticeship programs, serve safe manager to people to get certified without, they can't afford it. Other ways to get you guys qualified candidates, not just now, but moving forward. I think they're great points. I think that, it's something that David is looking at, like he said, the carrot, not the stick, of how do you incentivize people to go back to work, and what can we do to make our workforce stronger and more prepared to come, into our industry, as you guys all know. So how we can help on training, and the staff side, as I talk with the Workforce Alliance and some other groups around the state, that want to help as well. So great questions. I think, I don't want to keep anybody here longer than needs to be today. We'll continue to go through these questions. I think they're all great ideas. I think we just need to keep sending them our way as we go forward. I hope you guys, I hope this was informative and helpful on an early morning here on Friday, to kind of give you guys an update. I thank the commissioner and Christine from the DECD for spending some time with us this morning. This will be recorded, so if you missed something, you can go back and go through or send it to other folks in the industry to make sure they know kind of the most up-to-date on our industry. And I look forward to next Wednesday. Look forward to following everyone's social through CT Drinks on Us to see the creativity. You guys know where to find me if you need me. Otherwise, we'll keep you posted about our next webinar moving forward, and hopefully have some more updates on RRF in the coming days and weeks. So thank you guys again. I will see, I hope everybody has a great weekend. It looks like the weather is going to be beautiful. Looking forward to hearing you guys are continuing to get back on your feet. I know you're tirelessly working, but look for some great news. So thank you all, and I will talk to everybody soon.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Christine.
Have a good day.
Thanks, David.